tree way of doing it.
Yeah, people seem to like it, so, yeah.
It's like.
Yeah, nice to see you
Before
guys.
we begin, I want to remind everyone in this room that this evening's meeting in person will be recorded, and the room is equipped with microphones throughout that will pick up any talking. So please refrain from having sidebar discussions that you do not wish for the microphones to pick up. I call the meeting November 4th, 2024 to order at 6 p.m.
Near hand when you turn, yeah, thank you.
Yes. And please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Potato? Here. Lemon? Here. Farragut?
Here.
Cole?
Here.
Alfers?
Here.
Ranky?
Here.
Thank you. Right now, we will call on David Barnes for our invocation. A little backwards, but we're getting there.
Would you bow your heads with me? Dear Father, first of all, thank you for your unendless, unchanging love. God, we lift up this community, we lift up this city, the state, and this entire nation. We lift it up to you as we go into a day tomorrow that brings about a lot of uncertainty, unknown, fear. God, would you bring us a calm, a peace during a time, during this time, in this moment. Father, we trust in you. We give this time tonight to you. Thank you for the blessing of having wonderful servants in this community that, their love for people and their desire to care for this community. So we lift up this entire council to you. Would you bless them? Would you protect them? Would you protect every person in here? And just thank you for your love. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, Pastor Barnes. All right, tonight we have a proclamation for recognizing Native American Heritage Month. I call on City Administrator Jason Wilson.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll be reading the proclamation into the record for tonight. So this is a proclamation recognizing Native American Heritage Month. Whereas we acknowledge that we are on the traditional homelands of the Native American Coast Salish people, including the Puyallup Tribe of Indians and the Muckleshoot Indian Tribe. And whereas we celebrate throughout the year the diverse cultures who make Sumner vibrant, we also want to especially recognize that the first people on this land were the indigenous peoples, with everyone coming later, often through violent, painful conflict and displacement of the indigenous people. And whereas the city of Sumner acknowledges that Native American tribes are not just part of our past, but an integral part of our present and future. And whereas we seek continued partnership among our governments for projects like the White River Restoration Project, which restores over 170 acres of land along the White River, creating side channels and wetlands as large storage area for floodwaters to enhance habitat for endangered salmon. And whereas we recognize that the indigenous people of the Puyallup, Muckleshoot, and other tribes continue to live, work, raise their children, care for communities, uphold traditional practices, and speak their native languages, just as their ancestors did. And whereas the city offers its greatest respect to the Puyallup Indian Tribe and Muckleshoot Indian Tribe and their elders, and reaffirms our commitment to support the preservation of traditions and culture of the tribes and to honor the unique heritage of our first inhabitants. And whereas the city joins Washington State and other states across the nation in celebrating Native American Heritage Month, honoring the unique heritage and reaffirming the commitment to respect each tribe's sovereignty and cultural identity. Now, therefore, the city of Sumner joins Washington State and other states in proclaiming November 2024 as Native American Heritage Month, as we commit to uplifting the voices, experiences, and histories of the indigenous people of this land and beyond. Dated this 4th day of November, 2024, and signed by Mayor Hayden. And I'll just add, I take off my readers, for some reason lately my eyes have been bothering me. I'll just add, we really appreciate our positive relationship that we have with the Puyallup and Muckleshoot tribes. They are true partner when it comes to our White River Restoration Project, and it would not have been possible without their support.
Thank you. Okay, will the clerk please read the consent agenda?
Item number 1, approval of the checks and electronic payments in the amount of $5,031,579.87. Item number 2, approval of the meeting minutes from September 30th, 2024 special study session, the October 16th, 2024 special study session, the October 21st, 2024 regular council meeting, the October 21st, 2024 special study session, the October 23rd, 2024 special study session, and the October 28th, 2024 study session.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Cole, would you please make a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
Yes, I move to adopt the consent agenda of the city council meeting of today, November 4th, 2024.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Councilmember Bowman. Would any member like to remove an item? Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimous. All right. We have no public hearing tonight. On to regular business, unfinished business. Resolution number 1700, tax year 2025, ad valorem property tax. Councilmember Botetto, would you like to make a motion?
I make a motion to adopt resolution number 1700, tax year 2025, ad valorem property tax.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Councilmember Bowman. I call on Chief Financial Officer Cassandra Raymond. There she is.
Good evening, everyone. Just have a moment to bring our presentation up, please. All right, we are here before you tonight with Resolution 1700, adopting our tax year 2025 ad year property tax valorem levy. Property tax accounts for about 20% of the revenue into our general fund for 2025 and is considered our most stable revenue source into the general fund. We reviewed our 2025 property tax request with the Finance and Personnel Committee on October the 10th, brought it before City Council to a study session discussion on October 14th, and held a required public hearing on October 21st. At that public hearing, no comments were received. This evening, presenting Resolution 1700 for action, and then the city is required to pass and certify our levy request to Pierce County no later this year than November 27th of 2024. Under RCW, cities with a population of 10,000 or more are authorized to increase our property tax levy request up to 1% from the prior year's collections, or the highest lawful levy since 1985. Our property tax distribution is made up of multiple taxing districts. Of the total property tax assessed to residents in the city of Sumner, about 9% of the overall assessment comes into the city of Sumner. We received our preliminary certification from Pierce County in September. Overall, the city's assessed valuation grew by about 4.4%. The assessed valuation for the average single-family residence increased about 7%. Overall, our industrial and commercial properties make up about 71% of our assessed valuation. Residential makes up the remaining 29%, and that's split 21% to single family and 8% to multifamily. Resolution 1700 requests a total tax year 2025 levy amount of $5,045,547. That is calculated by taking our 2024 levy, increasing it by 1%, and then adding on the value of new construction and improvement, additional revenue from annexations, and revenue from administrative refunds. Under our preliminary certification, that will give us a levy rate of 0.8981 cents per thousand of assessed valuation. For our average single-family residence, that's a monthly change from 2024 of $1.68. That funds $4,365,547 to support general fund operations. Additionally, earmarking $350,000 for the city council strategic reserve, $330,000 to support street operations and capital. We use that in the form to leverage grant revenues. Overall, that's an increase in the general fund from 2024 of $88,892. And for our average single-family resident, the city portion of the tax year 2025 property tax will be $487.56. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from the council? All right, because of a public hearing on this item on October 21st, 2024, there'll be no public comments taken. Any council have any comments before we move on this? No comments? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Elfers,
Yes.
Cole,
Yes.
Ranky,
Yes.
Potato,
Yes.
Bowman,
Yes.
Clairgate.
Yes.
This is unanimous. Okay, moving on, public comment. Michelle, would you please read the rules for public comment?
The public comment period is your opportunity to speak to the council and the mayor on issues that are not on the agenda. As the clerk calls your name and address, please approach the podium. You will have 3 minutes. As a reminder, this portion of the meeting is the council's opportunity to hear from the community and not a time to engage in debate. The council will not be answering any questions, and you may be directed to a staff member. And tonight, Mayor Hayden, we do have 2 people who have signed up for public comment. The first being Tina Burnett, 228 Sumner Avenue, Sumner.
Thank you.
That was a great meeting, the Community Development Committee meeting. I hadn't planned anything to speak about, but,
Tina, would you please hit your button again?
oh, I did. It has a red light. Is that on?
You're good.
Okay. It was a really good community development meeting. And I just want to follow on to that about BESS. As you know, or some of you may know, I worked for 25 years at the Boeing Corporate Energy Office. Natural gas is my specialty, but I absorbed a little bit more too. And the storage systems were starting when I worked there. They've been around a while. The technology has changed and it's improved every year. So if you look over time, the number of facilities has grown over the last 20 years. And the number of accidents has remained about the same. There's about 15 on average accidents per year at a BESS facility, which shows you that the percentage of accidents per facility has gone way down. But there are still 15 accidents a year. It's a great technology. It's something we need. We can't keep burning fossil fuels. So as far as green energy, it's great, but it also involves very toxic chemicals. Lithium, obviously, cobalt, graphite's in there, but it's not very toxic. So that's not an issue. My issue, and probably a lot of people's issues, is the siting, where it's sited. Yes, it's in the industrial area, but it's sitting right on top of the city water supply. It's already been permitted. It's going to go in. We all know that. And I applaud you all from that meeting. I'm really happy that you guys are on it and you're looking at what are the implications in trying to protect the city. I really appreciate what you're doing there. So I trust the fire department to make a great fire emergency plan. It may not help the people that are exposed to the toxic fumes if there is an accident, but what the city needs, and maybe we have one, what's the city emergency plan if our water supply sitting beneath that lithium is contaminated and the river's contaminated? What's the city emergency plan to provide water to your citizens? That is very, very crucial and should not be forgotten. I have no more times, but it was a great meeting. Thank you. I appreciate your efforts to protect the city. But the sighting is really bad. And I understand PSC's reasons for where they're sighting it. It's right near their power line. So it's a perfect location for them, but is it maybe not the perfect location for Sumner? Time's up. Thanks.
Thank you.
The next person is Randall Adams, 15013 63rd Street Court, East Sumner.
Let me start by praising Councilmember Botetto for being the only one of you who asked questions of the applicants for the vacant council seat. You addressed the white elephant in the room when asking clarification from Nick Bierman on what he thought and why. Then you followed up with questions to ensure that everyone knew what Nick was all about. Thank you, Councilman Botetto, for seeking clarity for everyone else in the room. While the council has been getting better about speaking up and asking questions, please start thinking of your questions like you're removing layers from an onion. The top layer may bring tears to your eyes based on no responses, yet you must continue to ask more questions to get down to further layers until you actually do get to the answers. Councilmember Elfer's last meeting asked how much more the city owes toward the 8th Street Bridge. While staff knew because they were working on grants that morning, you were not told an answer. That needs to change. When you ask a question, the city needs to answer your question. They need to respect you and answer your question straight up. They knew the answer that should have been given to you. There are additional questions that you can be asking as you look at your current budget. What is the unfunded balance on the current White River Reclamation Project phase after the grants that have been acquired and the now $10 million that the city is asking from the golf course sale? How much is left over? Is there any or not? If there is some more needed, then that should come or should be added to the 10 million because the previous city council allocated 20 million toward the White River Reclamation Project. So that should be covered so that that phase is paid up in full. The city is now asking of you to pay the entire $25 million portion of the city's portion of the general, from the general fund from the golf course proceeds toward of the utility department. Because that's what the city is on the hook for, is 25 million out of general funds. They're asking you to pay 100% of that out of the sale of the proceeds of the golf course, meaning that 25 million plus the 10 million for the White River project is 35. The previous council allocated up to $30 million, not 35, up to $30 million. So don't get confused there. 10 million is all that has ever been represented to the city that you are willing to allocate toward of the funds. Now, on the utility rates that you're going to be looking at tonight, you should get straightforward answers in regards to what is the total revenue for the increases that have been approved. What is it for alternative 1, alternative 2, alternative 1 and 2, so that you can go straight across and actually see what the comparisons are. Right now, you're looking at incongruent graphs that don't tell you those answers. We're done.
Anybody else, Michelle?
No.
Go ahead. State your name and address, please.
Red's on, right? Red's on.
I'm sorry.
Wasn't going to do this. I wasn't quite ready for this, but we'll do it. I'm assuming we'll get to talk about city council vacancy later in the meeting. Get a comment on that? Cool. Just checking. I just wanted to, it sparked that we were doing the Native American Heritage Month, because that's actually a really great spot to start about the Ryan House. We haven't had a formal meeting about what our plans are, but that is part of it. We'd like to join in conjunction with the tribes and have part of the museum be for the local tribes. Because there's a lot of history with that. And frankly, I think we're missing out on that in this town. I go to a lot of study sessions and a lot of city councils, and I know all of you, I'm here 99% of the time. It's kind of become my third home past the PTA. That's another thing. But in these study sessions and these budgets and everything, it's tourism, tourism, tourism. How are you going to do that if you don't even have a welcome center? It's the only town around here that doesn't have some sort of welcome center. The Ryan House is absolutely perfect for a welcome center with a museum, including the tribes. We would also like to have a traveling museum in conjunction with local other museums, Buckley, Puyallup, Fording, where we have a kind of like a traveling thing where we take turns of sharing artifacts and sharing booths and things and kind of rotate throughout the years. Change it with the seasons. It's fall. Let's have some fall farming equipment. How was Halloween celebrated in Sumner 100 years ago? We can have that now. And then at the holidays, there's so many options that I feel like you guys just haven't really thought outside the box yet, but I guess that's what we're here for. And we're just trying. I've got a minute left just to speak on my 2 cents on the water rate hikes, let's call it what it is. If I'm correctly understanding it, is it gonna be 4.5% every year for the next 4 years? That's a lot, y'all. I'm trying to feed my kids this year. My husband's laid off and on for the last 8 months. And when we fell behind on our water bill, your website and the paper bill says you can make payment arrangements. I called this city. They said we do not do payment arrangements. And I'd also like to remind you that a year ago, you guys voted to jump the cutoff fee that if your water gets shut off and you have to get it turned back on, you jumped it from, I believe, 40 to 75. Newsflash, people aren't not paying their bills because they don't want to. They're not paying their bills because they can't. So I think raising 4.5% every year for the next 4 years is insulting, insulting as someone who's struggling to raise a family. Please stop that if you can. Thank you.
Thank you. Michelle, is that it?
That is it.
Is there anybody else that would like to make a comment? Mr. Bierman?
Please state your name and address for the record.
Yes, so Nick Bierman, 5802 Parker Road East. I'd just like to make a quick comment about the Community Development Committee meeting.
Is your microphone on?
Yes, it is.
He speaks softly.
Be loud, Nick. Come on.
I'd like to make, okay, so I'll start over. Nick Bierman, 5802 Parker Road East. I'd like to make a quick comment about the Community Development Committee meeting that I just attended as a witness. I was very pleased, I'll echo the sentiment that Tina made, that we have committee members who are asking tough questions and asking about why can we do this, why can't we do that, and seeking answers for those questions. So I appreciate the hard work, and it was very nice to see the concerns of the people that the council represents being conveyed during the committee meeting. And that's exactly what council is here for. And it was a great opportunity to witness the work of the people being done in that setting. So I just wanted to make that comment real quick.
Thank you. All right, anybody else before we move on to new business? All right, council vacancy. I'm gonna call on Jason Wilson, city administrator.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Just get a minute to get the presentation up and going. Okay, we're gonna go through the appointment process for the council vacancy tonight. Just as a reminder, this process is governed by several laws as well as your own council rules. And, the laws really cover the legal aspects of this, but your rules cover the appointment process in detail. As a reminder, everybody is a qualified applicant. They have to have lived in the city for a minimum of 1 year and must be a registered voter. The appointment that you're making tonight is what we call a short term. That means that this person will be required to run on the November ballot next year if they desire to keep this seat. And tonight we're in the process phase. We are at the appointment So appointments are done by nominations. You can go into executive session if you determine you need one, but we'll go into that if you actually need it. So you'll call for nominations, the mayor will, and anybody can nominate one of the 7 applicants. There is no need for a second for that nomination. When nominations seem to be dying down, the mayor will call for a motion to close the nomination period, and it does require a second, and then a majority vote of council to close nominations. At that point, we'll open it up to the public, who will be provided an opportunity to provide their input on the nominated applicants, limited to 2 minutes per person. After that, council can continue discussing the matter, or they can move directly into voting. Voting will be done by roll call. The clerk will call your name, and you'll be asked to state the name of the applicant that you wish to appoint to council. The appointment does require a majority of vote, and you can vote as many times as needed to obtain that majority vote. In the case of a tie, the mayor does cast the deciding vote. And then if for whatever reason, council cannot reach a decision tonight, you may postpone the election to a date certain if you're unable to meet that majority. This position is scheduled to be sworn in at the next regular council meeting, which is November 18th. Before I turn it over to you for nominations, I'm happy to answer any questions about the process.
Any questions? Any questions? Thank you, Jason.
Thank you.
Okay, would any member like to nominate a candidate?
I nominate Matthew Kenna.
All right. Barbara?
I nominate Michael Hochstetter.
All right. So we've got one of each, Jason, so do we just move on from there then?
You need to ask if anybody else has any nominations. If nobody else has other nominations, you'll need a motion to close nominations.
So would be nominations that aren't on the list?
Well, it has to be one of their 7 applicants, so you have 2 that are listed, Kenna
Okay.
and Hochstetter. And then if there's any other council members that would like to nominate,
Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Seeing none.
okay, so you need a motion to close nominations. I believe Deputy Mayor Cole's prepared for that motion.
Go ahead.
Yes, I move to close the nominations for this open council seat.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second it.
Second. Seconded twice.
I'm sorry, Mayor, who is the second?
Councilmember Botetto and Councilmember Ranky.
But you can, Frankie can.
How about Councilmember Ranky? He was the loudest. Okay,
Now you need to vote on to close the nominations.
yes, so do we have a motion to vote on? Go ahead,
The motion's been made and seconded, Mayor, just call for a vote.
call for a vote.
Yes.
Mayor, would you like to call for a voice vote to close the nominations?
Mayor, would you, or
That's a yes.
could you motion, do I have a motion to close the nominations? Yes.
Michelle, could you just read the council members? We'll do a voice vote.
Bowman,
Kenna.
Cole,
Point of order.
No, this is
This
yes
is to close nominations. It's a yes or no.
Oh.
Yes.
I heard yes.
Yes.
All right, Cole,
Yes.
Potato,
Yes.
Clarigat,
Yes.
Ranky,
Yes.
Elfers.
Yes.
Nominations are closed.
And Mayor, now would be time for public comment on the applicants.
All right, do we have any public that would like to make a comment? Go ahead. State your name, please.
Sorry, I forgot to do that last time. You guys all know me, so Amanda Henderson, 5908 and 5912, 162nd Avenue East. I'm a little confused at this point, so you nominated first and then asked for public comment? That seems kind of pointless. And insulting, factually, but I come to 99% of these council meetings and study sessions over the last 2 years and some on months. seen a lot of council members come and go now at this point, and only 2 of you are actually original from when I first started coming to council meetings 2 years and some odd months. I love seeing all the new faces tonight. This is great. This is probably the biggest turnout we've had for a city council meeting. Usually it's just me and Nick sitting in the audience, which gets me a little bit to my point. Multiple candidates in here have mentioned historical preservation and small town charm in the applications. I totally appreciate that. And if one of you gets on the city council, I hope you work with us on making sure that happens. I've been in PTA for a really, really, really long time. And to even have your vote count at a meeting, you must at least attend one meeting in person. I think that should be a requirement here. When we don't see any of these guys that wanted to come, and women, sorry, that wanted to come, and I've never seen their faces before in my life, and you got one guy over here who comes to everything and fights for this city, it's insulting at this point. He keeps applying for stuff, and you guys just push him off because you think of the Ryan House is all he cares about. He cares about this town more than anybody else I know, any of them. He's applied and applied. He's great at finding grants. He's the only one in this room, like I've said, out of any of these people that I've seen at any of these study sessions and city council meetings, the choice is clear on who deserves it and who's gonna fight for us as citizens. The Ryan House is not all he cares about, but you guys don't care to ask that because you guys are tired of hearing about it, and I get it. But the choice is clear and he's proven that.
Henderson, your time is up.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Mr. Behrman.
Insulting Joe. Seriously, the worst name that you've ever been.
Right. It's on, right?
It is.
Okay, Nick Bierman, 5802 Parker Road East. I am pleased to see so many highly qualified and motivated applicants here. I think the applicant pool was great. I love seeing the diversity in age, the diversity in gender, the variety of different applicants. Some who've been involved with the community for a very long period of time, and others who are new to Sumner, just like myself. So I love seeing the range of applicants that we had for this open position. And I hope that the council, when they make a decision on the 2 that have been nominated, that they consider, well, I guess I don't even have to say this. I was gonna say, remember Reagan's youth and inexperience comment from the debate in the 80s, that don't hold that against us as applicants, that just because we're new to Sumner or just because we're younger in age doesn't mean that we're not as motivated or not as qualified. So there are many great applicants, and it was very great to be in the same pool with all of you who are here, and I'm glad to see so many that are attending the meeting tonight to be here for this process. So thank you.
All right. Anybody else before we move on? All right, seeing none, we will have the clerk call the roll, and council will be stating the name of the person they wish to appoint for nominations. Michelle, would you please call the roll?
Clarigat,
Matthew Kenna.
Elfers,
Michael Hochstetter.
Cole,
Matthew Kenna.
Ranky,
Matthew Kenna.
Potato,
Michael Hochstetter.
Bowman,
Matthew Kenna.
that will be 4 for Mr. Kenna and 2 for Mr. Hochstetter.
All right. It looks like our new council member will be Matthew Kenna. Congratulations. Okay. Moving on to reports. Councilmember Potato.
Congratulations on being appointed, and I know that especially Michael's been quite involved in the city, so He may not be at our meetings, but he has been involved, and I appreciate you putting your name in. And I just want to remind everybody that getting your ballot in tomorrow, don't just leave it on your kitchen, counter. Get it turned in by 8 o'clock tomorrow night. So, thank you.
Councilmember Bowman.
Yes, I too appreciate everybody that put their name in the hat for the new council position. I think that a few of the folks have been on commissions prior, so not always in this meeting, but still involved in the city for a great amount of time. So I think that it just shows the interest, I think, is great. I appreciate what Nick Bierman said about youth is key, and, diversity of thought is really key to get people with diverse opinions on the council. So thank you guys for applying, and congratulations to Matthew Kenna. The other thing I want to do is congratulate Pat Cole. So it appears that she was over at the high school recently. And the kids had all these pictures on the wall. Did you already talk about this here?
Yeah, we
Did we? Exactly. So, and they had all these, the kids were over there in the pack at Sumner High School, and the mayor wrote about this, and there were pictures on the wall that the kids, they chose images, Mimi Jung, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Patrick Mahomes, President Obama, and Deputy Mayor Pat Cole. And so she was there, and they had a chance to get a picture of her against the wall that she could send to her grandkids. So I'd say congratulations. That is pretty cool, and you do a lot with the high school kids over there. So that's a great accolade. And then the other thing is trick-or-treating was a great success up here on Main Street. It's really nice to see the city and the pop-up handing out their candy, and all the owners of the shops handing out the candy. There must have been 1,000 kids. I mean, the line just went on forever, although it was rainy. You guys had the Ryan house all dolled up, and I saw Randall there in a football helmet, and I thought, actually it looked like a motorcycle helmet to me, but I thought.
It's an old Spartan helmet.
Yeah, that's an old one, because it didn't even have a face guard on it. So anyway, it was pretty fun to just see all that and the community coming together, as well as the carloads of people that come in and park on the streets that don't even live in this town and unload their kids. And I think that's a great testament just to the city itself, and the fact that people feel it's safe to bring their kids in here and trick or treat. So I thought that was really nice to see as well. So I would just thank everybody that was involved in that. So thanks.
Councilmember Clergan.
Yeah, I'd like to just thank everyone who applied also, and congratulations to Matthew Kenna.
Deputy Mayor Cole.
I again would like to thank everyone that put their names in the hat for the open council seat. And congratulations, Matthew. We're looking forward to working with you. And last but not least, don't forget to vote.
Councilmember Alfers.
Yeah, I just want to say, I think, I don't know, it's been 5 or 6 years ago, I put my name in for an appointment. I didn't get it. And so I think it's not necessarily like a 1 or 2 year thing. And then I got on a commission. So I think I just want to thank everyone for being involved. One of the things I would encourage everyone here is that some of you guys haven't been on a commission or been involved in that. So please keep looking for openings. There are openings, and really need people to be engaged. And thank you. Congratulations to Mr. Kenna and Mr. Hochstetter. Thank you for being involved for such a long time in the community. And I just want to just echo a little bit about the holiday. It's such an odd holiday to have your kids go to strangers' doors and knock on the door, ask for things. But it is wonderful to be in a community where people are friendly, and people enjoy coming here, and you get a lot of people. So thank you everyone for making it a safe place and putting interesting decorations and doing stuff like that. So I think that's great. And again, tomorrow, I think the thing I'm always surprised about on elections is the small percentage of people that vote. And I'm always shocked at that. So I just, if everyone could listen to this, if you're probably already voting for listening here, but please vote.
Thank you. Councilmember Ranking.
Okay, I too would like to thank all the candidates. I've been in that position too. I've put in, I think 3 times. It took me 3 times, but I know where you're at. It's a difficult decision for all of us, and I think all of the 7 were qualified. I just have to make a decision who we thinks can fit with us the best for this next year at least. And like she made the point, a lot of us haven't been here very long, believe me. Most of this council up here has just been here this year. So I do appreciate everybody that's put in and do keep active in the community. I mean, I've been involved in the community for way too long, but I continue to still do it. And I do want to say the homecoming parade was a great success. We took the Kenworth in it with the council, and then the homecoming game was really good, well attended. Sumner won. And also we did the street trick-or-treating downtown with my grandkids. It was quite a turnout. A little rainy, but it was good. And just remember to vote tomorrow, everybody, so don't forget. Thank you.
City Administrator Jason Wilson.
Thank you, Mayor. Coming up at, right after this meeting, we are having a special study session to talk about our 2025 legislative agenda, as well as our 2025 utility rates and billing modifications. That's a continuation from a couple weeks ago. Next Monday is a holiday. It's Veterans Day, so City Hall is closed, which means your regular council meeting or it's a study session next week moves to Tuesday. And at that, we'll be continuing our review of the comprehensive plan, focusing on the transportation element, traffic impact fees, capital facilities element, and parks impact fees. November 18th, at the regular council meeting, we'll swear Mr. Kenna in and then hold a public hearing on the 25-26 budget. You'll consider a South Tank repainting construction contract award, a resolution adopting a parklet policy, the 2025 legislative priorities, an ordinance setting the 2025 utility rates, an ordinance related to the utility code billing updates, an ordinance related to multifamily residential infill, an ordinance related to permit review and timeline, an ordinance related to zoning code amendment for group homes, and an ordinance related to battery energy storage systems. That's a lot of ordinances that have worked their way through the Planning Commission as well as the Community Development Committee. After that regular council meeting, we are having another special study session where we will continue our budget review for 2025 and 2026. And we'll also talk about the 2023-24 final budget amendment. On the commission front, we do have openings, so I thank council for encouraging our applicants to apply. There are openings, and I hope to see a lot of your names come across those applications. On the development front, I know some people talked about Bright Night Energy Storage. That's the battery energy storage company that is building in the north end of the city. I do want to remind everybody that is a permitted project, and we did closely examine the proximity to one of the city's wells with the Department of Health. And we also have a comprehensive emergency management plan that addresses emergency water as well as other emergency response for that type of incident. Also, a number of people talked about our committee meetings. I just want to remind the public that our committee meetings are open to the public and they are encouraged to attend. I would say tonight was very typical for what we do at a committee meeting. So I'm happy that some of you were able to see that firsthand tonight and witness it. I'm happy to answer any questions that council may have.
Any questions? Any questions? Nope, you're off the hook.
Thank you.
All right, so Halloween was awesome. We had all our employees' kids come in and we have a prolific bunch of people here. There was a ton of kids. And downtown looked like they were bustling and all the kids got candy, so they were wired for days, I'm sure. Everything is good, and thank you for coming. Michael, thank you for applying. Don't give up. Keep going. Congratulations, Mr. Kenna. And with that, I will adjourn this meeting at 6:44.